All right, let's just get right into it because today we're going to talk about something with a title you just can't ignore. Consistency is constipation. Yeah, you heard that right. We're going to challenge a piece of advice that might actually be holding you back. I mean, come on, we've all heard this, right? Consistency is the key to success. It's plastered everywhere. Self-help books, those guru talks, you name it. And, it sounds right. It makes sense. Just show up, do the thing, repeat. Simple. But what if it's a trap? Seriously, what if that constant, just grinding repetition, that absolute refusal to change your routine, what if that's the very thing that's stopping you from really growing? What if it's not a virtue at all, but a trap that just looks like one? And that brings us right to the core idea here, the constipation effect. Look, I know it's a provocative term, but it's actually the perfect way to describe what happens when our routines get so rigid, they just block everything up. They stop the natural flow of progress. And just to be super clear, we're not talking about your digestion here, okay? This is about mental and behavioral blockages. You know that feeling of just being stuck? That's what this is. It's when your habits get so fixed that nothing new can get through. No new ideas, no flexibility, no real growth. And the dangers of being too consistent, of this hyper-consistency, they're absolutely real. It leads straight to stagnation, to burnout. I mean, think about it. If you're just repeating the same old patterns day in and day out, you're not going to take risks, right? You miss out on all these chances to innovate. You basically just put a giant lid on your own imagination. So, what's the answer then? Is it just chaos? Throwing all your good habits out the window? No, not at all. It's about finding something called dynamic discipline. And that's the real sweet spot. That perfect balance between having a solid structure and having the freedom to actually grow. And let's be really, really clear here. This is not an excuse to get lazy. The whole point is to change how you think about discipline itself. You're trying to shift from a discipline that's rigid, brittle, the kind that snaps under pressure, to one that's strong but also flexible. One that can bend and adapt to whatever life throws at you. Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting because it makes a crucial distinction. It's saying, look, be consistent with your foundations. Things like your health, your ethics, your key relationships. Those are like the anchors of your life. They need to be solid. But you need to be flexible with your methods, how you work, your creative process, how you experiment, because that's where all the magic, all the real growth actually happens. All right, so that's the big idea. But how do we actually do this? Let's get practical. Here's a 5-step action plan to help you unblock your own growth. So this is your roadmap. It's a 5-step cycle, really, designed to take you from being stuck in a rigid routine to experiencing dynamic growth. We're going to start by looking at your current habits and end up with a system that helps you keep improving, so you hopefully never get stuck like that again. Okay, step 1, you've got to audit your habits. And this means asking yourself a really honest question. Take a hard look at your routines, your daily grind. Are they actually energizing you? Are they pushing you forward? Or are they just comfortable patterns that are secretly keeping you right where you are? Then we hit step 2, which is all about actively bringing in some flexibility. And I love this piece of advice because it's so concrete. You're going to aim to set aside about 10 to 15% of your week for what's called creative unpredictability. And no, this is not wasted time. This is your dedicated space to break routines, to try something totally new, and just see what amazing ideas pop up. Now, after you've carved out that flexible time in step 2, you move into step 3, which is all about finding that balance we talked about. This is where you consciously decide where to be flexible and where to stay firm. But to do that effectively, you really need a big mindset shift, which brings us to step 4. It's about totally redefining discipline. Instead of thinking, I must always do it this way, you start thinking, I will always do what's needed to grow. See the difference? It's huge. And finally, step 5 is what keeps this whole system from getting stale. It's simple. Once a month, review everything. And you have to be ruthless here. If a habit feels like it's suffocating you, if it's holding you back, you cut it. Gone. This isn't about creating chaos. It's about intentionally making space so that new, better possibilities can find their way in. So what's the big takeaway from all this? If you boil it all down, it comes to a really simple but incredibly powerful choice. You either evolve or you stagnate. That's it. Standing still isn't really an option. Because at the end of the day, true growth isn't about just blindly repeating the same actions over and over.
It's about wisdom. It's about knowing when it's time to adapt. It's about having the courage to finally break those patterns that just aren't serving you anymore. It's all about embracing this beautiful paradox, being disciplined but also flexible, being structured but also creative, and being totally committed to your big goals while staying completely free in how you decide to reach them.
So, I'll leave you with this one final question to really think about. After hearing all this, take a look at your own life. What's that one routine, that one comfy, cozy pattern that you are now ready to break, all in the name of your own growth?